Hello, I'm Fiona Woodhead and I've self-published some children's books called Once Upon a Slime, a series of 4 children's books. And I've been using Authors2Schools to get some school visits. The best way to sell my books, I've learned, are school visits. So you can go to bookshops where they may buy 10 or 6, or you can go to schools and they buy hundreds. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Plus it's amazing because you get to see and chat to all those kids who's taking your books home, and you inspire them and they learn to read and they get to meet you and they actually think you're a real person, like a real author. So it's always great stuff to do. So I use Authors2Schools. They contacted me last week saying they've got 2 schools they want me to visit down in near Buxton, and they've booked me in. I got the email confirming the day I'm going and the time and the address and the postcode, and they've set up a profile on their website where it has the school details, when it is, and then I start getting orders through from their website of who's bought the books already and who's wants me to pre-sign them. So it works by me logging in, they create you the account, they send out information to the schools, so they do pre-designed newsletters to the schools saying, Fiona Woodhead is coming on the 10th of August. Well, that won't happen because that's actually school holiday. I don't know, 3rd of October. And it has, she's coming, she's done these 4 books. It's great for these ages, age 3 to 5, ages 5 to 7, about slimy creatures. And they send this detail, which is really easy for the schools to forward on to the parents about you visiting. So they hook the parents in by this easy template. They send to the school, and then the parents can either log online and reserve the book, and they write whose name it is you're going to be signing it to, i.e. Oliver, and then you get the email confirming that. It's just a really easy process. It means I have security because I know the orders have come in already. I know the schools have security because they're not just dealing with sort of an author going, hello, I'm coming to your school. It just seems, it's just much more professional, and that's the kind of image I want to portray. Even though I'm self-published, I am kind of professional. I want my books to look great. I want to come across to schools professional. So anyway, I've been booked in these 2 schools. I am going on Monday. I'm really looking forward to it. I have ready my artwork for my creative learning sheets, which is what I do with the kids. I have my PDF, which is I show on a big screen behind me. I have my books in the car ready. Well, they're in a suitcase ready to go in the car because it's not Monday yet. And that's about it. I don't overly plan. I don't think about what I'm going to say. I kind of let it come naturally. And so, yeah, thanks to Authors2Schools, I've got 2 school visits. I'm going to do a video on the day. I'm going to try and do a video on the day of me arriving in the car and in the school hall, even though you're not really allowed to take videos or photographs, quite obviously, because there's small children around. So I'm going to do a video to see, just to show you the process and how I've done it. Hopefully that will work. I'm here. I've parked up near the school that I'm about to visit this morning. I'm not driving, the engine's turned off and everything, but I'm all ready with my morning visit. And I have another one this afternoon. Both primary schools. Authors2Schools have helped me arrange these visits, so I arranged the initial meeting, and then they have a great internet website where you log on and then you see which orders you've got for your books. There's some terms and conditions the schools sign up to, so they can't just suddenly cancel your visit after you've arranged everything. It's quite a seamless system, which just gives the author confidence in turning up and not feeling as though you're just like, hi, I'm at a school, I'm an author, because you always feel a bit dubious that you're an author anyway when you've been self-publishing, because you're not famous or you have no one with you. You're just there as an author who's written a book and want to inspire children and the adults too about reading and writing and illustrating. So the plan will be now is I'll go in, I'll go to reception with my bag and say, hello, I'm the author, I'm Fiona. Sometimes they have no idea who you are, the office people, and so they scurry off into the head teacher's room, and then they go, oh yeah, you are expected. And you're normally allowed a brew, which is really good news. The way Authors2Schools help you plan your visit is they have a really great structure, which really gives you a peace of mind of what you're doing. So after your brew, hopefully, You go to assembly and I do a reading of one of my books. I create the artwork without any of the words on that gets projected on behind me. So sometimes you can be in a room of 800 children. They can't see you holding a book. So I have a PDF online version which you click through so the kids can see the story. And I try and make it interactive and fun as possible. I have little ladybirds in my book that I try and get them to shout out really loud that if they've spotted them. I just try to kind of get the kids all crazy and hyped up, ready for the day, for the teachers to look after, but just to make it fun and memorable. I've also learned, which is a little tip, is before every assembly you always go, "Good morning, everyone," because nearly every school I've ever been to have this system of going, "Good morning, children," and they love a good chant, and it almost sort of calms them, ready for you to start your assembly. After the assembly, I normally go into 1 or 2 classes and we do different activities. I've done loads over the time of being a self-published author, kind of just to see what works. I've done things from making sock slugs, which really didn't work because kids had to sew things. It was basically me and teachers sewing socks together. We've made balloon animals. When we've had really young kids like reception, we've been doing handprint artwork, making spiders out of hands. But what's really resonated with me and why I get booked is I actually do some creative writing with the older of the Key Stage 1 children, so ages 7, 8 and 9 mine works really well for, where they get a creative writing sheet and they have to create a bug and think of its name, think what the bug likes to do, and we get some really great adjectives in there like slimy and gross. I really like them to be creative and imaginative and not to talk about fairies or glitter, especially the girls. I love it when I read a girl's work and it's talking about snot and slime. It really makes them come out of their shells in not a snail type way. After the lesson plan of my little creative writing, then I usually, in the area of the hall, have a table set up where I go sign the books. So a lot of children with Authors2Schools, the parents can pay online in advance, which is brilliant because you get an idea of how many books you need to bring. So I have a list of all the kids that I've had my orders from Authors2Schools that come by email, and I sit down and all the kids normally, with parents who've also brought in slips to pay in cash on the day, will line up and then they get to choose. I have 4 books. So they get to choose which book they'd like. I write their name in it, normally do a drawing of a slug or a snail or a spider. And then the kids have made up that because they've got a book signed by me, and then they go back off to class. And then that's it pretty much. Amazingly, that'll be 2.5 hours of your day. It goes so fast, but it's really fun. The most nervous bit I find is when I'm sat down just about to do the assembly, when I'm being introduced, because you've got all these little faces staring at you. You've got the teachers, so you know you're about to make a bit of a fool of yourself reading the book. But then what I do is I put all my nerves to the back of my head and I think about how my story is about to inspire a load of little kids. It's going to make them laugh. It's going to make them learn a bit. And most importantly, it's going to engage them in books, which we all know books are amazing, but it's when you see the kids' faces all smiling, looking up at you, it is just the best. And you get such a buzz from it. And that's what gets me through the nerves. And also knowing your story, you can feel your heart going, oh no, I'm going to have to read. But you read, you know your own story, you know which are the good bits. If you can find the story that also entertains them. So one of my stories with the ants don't have ears, so they talk to each other by vibrating and stamping their feet. So I get the whole assembly stamping their feet. And that obviously any kid that's allowed to make noise in assembly, they love. So I try to choose parts of the story, if you can't read the full one, that's going to really get the kids excited. So look, I'm in here. I have it set up on a screen because the assembly is cancelled today, so we're doing it in a classroom. And that's also important. Sometimes it just doesn't go as planned and you just roll with it. Most importantly. I also got my tea. The author visit is done this morning. I look a bit more frazzled and a bit more red, but it was so much fun. I had to change my plan. It wasn't a full assembly because the school play was going on, dress rehearsals. So instead we all crammed into a little room. We had the book on the projector and I read the story. The kids asked loads of questions. They found the ladybirds that are in my book and then we went down and sat and signed the books of the kids that had pre-ordered them. But it was so much fun. It's amazing to think these kids are so made up with their books, and they're going home tonight to read them with their families. It's just what it's all about. So now have a bit of lunch, another cup of tea, and do the visit in the afternoon.